Next bill is House Bill 833. House Bill 833, Increased Minority Male Teachers Program Study. To present the bill is Representative Fontenot. Thank you for being with us here in education. And sir, you have the podium.
Awesome. 833 would look at a study at a couple programs that have been successful in this area, in particular the Call Me Mr. program, which was started in South.
Representative Fontenot, I'm sorry. There is a PCS. Yeah.
Mr. program, which we have at Western Carolina University. It began in South Carolina with one university, expanded to 22. What it does, it targets minority males to get into the classroom because of the impact that it has statistically, as well as the Marathon Teaching Institute at North Carolina Central. Same idea, increasing minority males in the classroom because of what we see statistically. The goals are there, but when you look at the third bullet, effective programs in other states concerning diversity, inclusion, and inclusion and equity, we're looking at any other programs that may also have impacts that we have not considered.
Follow up?
Follow up, Representative Von Hafen.
So I'm just, why do we want to increase socioeconomic and geographical backgrounds in teaching?
Because we are a nation that is a melting pot, and I believe having socioeconomic as well as those other backgrounds could only have a positive effect.
Follow up?
Follow-up, Representative Von Hafen.
Are there other studies that are already being done in North Carolina around increasing diversity in our teaching profession? I guess I'm just wondering why we have to spend another $150,000 to study something that we already kind of know we need to do.
We're spending this money because when we talked to DPI on this program, we felt like these two programs specifically that we know are taking place in the state have a lot of merit, specifically with the population that we're looking at. And so working with the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, they felt like this was a good program, and I agree.
Any additional questions? Representative Budd, I see your light. Thank you.
Thank you. I wondered if it would be worth holding a vote or holding on the vote for this bill to wait for the answer from staff on the Drive Task Force. I understand what Representative Fontenot's trying to do. I don't want to belittle the efforts that he is making, as I understand his objective, but I think it would be important to include or take into account the Drive Task Force recommendations, considering that looked to be a 3-year study that had a number of action items, and it may be more efficient and more effective for the students in North Carolina to hold till we get that answer.
I appreciate your conversation along those lines, but we're talking about, in essence, two different things, and this is what the representative has presented to us, and this is what we're going to be hearing today, and what we'll be voting on today, out of respect to the member, just as we do with respect for any other members. Speaking of other members, I see Representative Brockman hanging out. Do you have anything you'd like to add?
No, not at this time.
Okay. All right. Is any additional questions? Members of the committee? Okay. Okay. We move on the fly here. So what we're going to do, we're going to displace this temporarily, and we're going to go through the rest of the agenda. We will hear from the superintendent of DPI, which will give staff ample enough time to do some research on your question and hopefully have the answer before we conclude with today's committee. However, if we don't, then I still will be taking a vote on the representative's bill at the end of our meeting.
Thank you.
Not a problem. Thank you. All right, Representative Budd, staff has alerted me that we have an answer to your question about the question that was on Representative
Fontenot's.
Yeah, I know. I was looking at the number and I can't see without my glasses on. 833, Representative Fontenot's thing. So we're going to go to staff now for hopefully an answer.
Brian Gwynn, Legislative Analysis. So the question was in regards to any overlap between the House Bill 833 and the recommendations of the Drive Task Force. So just to clarify at the outset, so House Bill 833 and its PCS is not implementing any specific policy objective because it's a study bill on its own, and so it doesn't explicitly address any of the recommendations of the Drive Task Force. It would make its own recommendations based on a different entity conducting a study, and that would be DPI, looking at particular programs that are in operation in North Carolina and other states. Whereas the Drive Task Force was created by executive order by the governor and studied and made recommendations related to increasing educator diversity, making specific references to racial, ethnic, and linguistic diversity. This PCS, on the other hand, would task DPI with looking at focusing on increasing socioeconomic and geographic diversity. We did identify a few different overlaps. Again, the Drive Task Force recommendations identified specific policy recommendations, and at least two of them seem to have some overlap. I'll just list those here. And this is again from the Drive Task Force recommendations. Expand and develop entry points into the educator pipeline that are based on models with proven success in recruiting racially, ethnically, and linguistically diverse educators, and provide sustainable investments in educator preparation programs at North Carolina's historically minority-serving institutions to elevate and build capacity of these institutions to increase their impact as leaders in equity-minded educator preparation. And based on the two specific programs in the PCS that are called out and identified for DPI to study. Those two recommendations seem to be somewhat connected, and the ultimate but it's possible that the ultimate recommendations of DPI based on this study could overlap further.
Hope that answers your question.
Thoroughly. Thank you. I truly
And before we
appreciate
get to
it.
any more questions, Representative Fontenot, we're back on your bill. If you'd like to return to the podium, we'll see if we can get that taken care of here. Thank you for your patience, by all means. Any additional questions for the representative on House 833? Seeing none, Representative Brockman moves for a favorable report to the PCS, unfavorable to the original bill with a referral to appropriations. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. Ayes appear to have it. Ayes do have it. Thank you for your patience, and the bill passes.